Today, we're going to look at how to make one of my favorite fall treats, pumpkin bread. You'll want to start by getting out all of your ingredients so that they'll be available when you're ready for them. For this recipe, you need pureed pumpkin, eggs, baking soda, cinnamon, flour, salt, sugar, vanilla, butter, and plain Greek yogurt. You'll also need your loaf pans and either some olive oil or Pam cooking spray. For this recipe, I'm doubling it, so I'm using 4 loaf pans. Start by preheating your oven to 350 degrees. Next, you'll add in 4 cups of flour to your mixing bowl. To the flour, add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Next is 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. And finally, 1 teaspoon of salt. You'll now whisk all of these dry ingredients together to mix them. When the whisking is done, you'll set the dry ingredients aside to come back to later. Now it's time to add the wet ingredients to your mixing bowl. You start with 2 cups of sugar. Next, we'll add in 1/2 cup of softened butter. You can do this by either leaving it out on the counter to come closer to room temperature or by sticking it in the microwave for about 10 seconds. Mix these together until they are well blended. To your sugar and butter mixture, you're going to add 4 eggs, 3 cups of pureed pumpkin, two-thirds of a cup of plain Greek yogurt, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Mix this again to make sure it all blends well together. Now it's time to add your flour mixture in with the wet ingredients. You're going to want to add this a little bit at a time. Give it a chance to mix in, maybe a cup of it, before you add the next cup until it is all well blended together. When it's done, it's going to look a little bit like maybe some orange Play-Doh. Next, you'll take your 4 pans and add your olive oil spray or Pam to the pans. You're then going to divide all of the new dough into the 4 pans. I like to add it a little bit at a time until I know that it is even in each one. Even then, you may still have to even it back out so your loaves are the same. Use the spatula to spread it around to make sure that your dough ends up in every corner. And now you'll put them in the oven. They're going to bake in the oven for 1 hour at 350 degrees. Keep an eye on them because every oven cooks just a little bit differently, just to make sure that they're not getting overcooked. Try to make sure that the rack that you're placing them on is closest as possible to the middle of the oven so that they'll cook evenly on both the top and bottom. Now you've got an hour. You can get your dishes washed, watch a TV show, or maybe read a book. An hour later, your house will probably smell heavenly. Take a skewer, a toothpick, or even a fork, stick it into the center of one of the loaves and make sure it comes out clean. When it does, you know that they are done and ready to come out of the oven. If you can set the loaves on some sort of a cookie cooling rack, it'll help them to cool down just a little bit quicker and more evenly. Once they've had just a few minutes to cool, you can take one out, slice it up, and watch the steam rise. All that's left to do is make yourself a cup of your favorite coffee, get a plate, and enjoy the wonderful tastes of fall.